Okay, so part two, what do you do once you have some brows that you're like, oh crap, like I lost my outline, maybe they're not symmetrical, maybe, but to a point where you know in your gut, like, those aren't fixable, right? And I know, including me, most PMU artists have really solid forms and a really solid, like, no refunds policy. And I get it. But especially when you're just first starting out, your name and your reputation is everything, and happy clients are everything. So in your heart, if you know, like, I can't make this right, like if you can't fix it, so either A, do everything you can to fix it, right? And if you can't do that, if you can't successfully give them what they came and paid you for, then yeah, I would do a refund. That might not be the popular opinion. Everybody's like, no refunds ever. I get it. But that's my advice. That being said, can you fix it, right? So let's say on first session, you just jack them up. So I actually did, just for funsies, a brow tattoo on my hand. I filmed it. Can you see it? No. Okay, there's a tiny little hint. Do you see that under edge? No, you can't. Oh my gosh. Amazing. I'll include pictures. Okay, but I did emergency removal on my hand, and it literally, it was a little bit red, like the skin was kind of pink and baby skin for like the first few months after, but it literally, as you see, it's like basically gone now. So let's say that you do a session, you're like, this didn't turn out well. If you have a removal solution, I will post a super easy video of how to do a removal. If you don't have a removal solution, you can go to the store and get saline solution, but it's really runny and the salt content is not quite as high, so it's not going to be as effective. So any newbies, carry a removal solution. Keep it on hand just in case. But so I'll show you how to do that emergency removal. It's super easy. And if it's like within even 48 hours, you can take a hot compress, put it on the brow, let it sit, and then it kind of opens up the pores. And if there's a tiny bit of scabbing, it takes off that. And then you just put on the removal solution, do the same thing I'll show you in the video. Super easy. Okay. So yes, emergency removal is also an option. Let's say you do first session, you completely remove it, and then second session, you feel confident you're able to give them good brows. Great. You know, then you're able to fix it. Or let's say there's, you know, this tail's way too long, so you can remove just part of that tail, or maybe this one's higher, so you can remove top, but it's so much easier to remove before it's healed in the skin. So just owning up to your mistake before they even leave, or if you go home and look at the pictures and you're like, oh crap, just call and be like, hey, can you come back in tomorrow? I need to take a few more pictures and there's this one little spot I'm thinking about removing. Even if you end up removing a whole brow, don't tell them that on the phone, but get them in your chair and be like, girl, on touch up, I'm gonna redo this part of this brow. Let's just pull this because I want your brows to be perfect. So what I'm gonna do is put this this remover on this little area. It's gonna take us about 20 minutes. And then when you heal, you're not gonna have an area right here. It's gonna be really, really light. And on touch up, we're gonna be able to go back in and get it all fixed up for you. But I would rather do this right? So that's how you talk to your clients. Really easy. You don't have to be like, I'm stupid and need to remove your brow. Like, you don't have to feel embarrassed about doing it, but do it, you know? Like, it's better to own up to your mistake and get them removed sooner than later if it's not fixable on touch-up. If it's not fixable on touch-up, you need to do emergency removal or give them a refund. But at the end of the day, then they have brows that they're gonna need to pay for removal. So even if you do the session for free, you've actually costed that client money just to get back to a base level. Does that make sense? Okay. So the third thing, so A, like if you can't fix it, give a refund. B, emergency removal is always an option. Own up to your mistake. 3, in the middle of the session, this is the hardest thing to do because it just, you feel like an idiot. But the hardest thing to do in the middle of the session, if you're sitting them up in between passes and looking and going, whoa, 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 this is getting bigger, or, you know, this one's not, you know, whatever. Like, you're, throughout the whole session, you're sitting there trying to balance the brows, and I get that. But if you notice your shape, this is usually what happens when people lose their shape. It just gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Because every time they go over it again, they go a little bit outside that outline. And then they go over it again, they go a little bit outside that outline. And then all of a sudden, you've lost your arch. All of a sudden, you've lost the top part of the brow. You know, all these different things. So, long story short, sorry, one of my children is missing. I have them playing with rocks. Look at this. This is so funny. Look at, they're just putting rocks into this thing. They've been doing this for like an hour. 2 and 3-year-olds, man, and boys. They're so funny. I came back. Okay. Anyway, sorry. Crap. ADD over here. So if you're sitting them up in between passes, and checking it, and you realize like, oh man, these are starting to get out of hand and getting worse instead of better, stop. That's like number 3. Just stop. If it's getting to this point where like, and then you could just be like, hey, you know what? I lost my outline. I need to remap you. How's that embarrassing to say, right? So then you know that if you, whatever pencil you use on them, etc., because the skin is already closed, you will have to throw it away after. That's the only bad news. But then you're costing yourself like, what, a few dollars in a pencil instead of having to refund the entire service, okay? So just take, once you realize this has gone haywire, just stop. And, you know, sit them back up, remap the whole thing, or be like, hey, this is all we're going to be able to do for a second session. This is basically going to be like a touch-up, a little bit of ink in your skin. Next session's going to be like your full session. And then stop right then, and then, you know, continue on a touch-up, and knowing that your touch-up book extra time for that. But you shouldn't be losing your outline, you know, other video. Okay. But yeah, if you realize it's getting worse, not better, red light, stop. So, hopefully this is helpful. I'm really sorry that both of these videos went so long. I'm just a freaking talker, man. Like, I know that's the one super negative about any advice I give. It's really like, this much is super important, and I somehow managed to use this much, like, telling you it. So, I'm sorry. But thank you for being a part of this group. Thank you for posting. I know this will help more people than you, and you're amazing. Have a wonderful day. Bye.